Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to reactive form in Angular, where we will see how to submit a form with proper validation check. Okay, prior to this session, we have already covered some other topics related to reactive form. So that's why I would suggest you to please firstly go through the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to use a reactive form group to submit the form with proper validation. Okay, now to demonstrate this thing or to understand this thing in a proper way, what you can do, you can also refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available for all of you in the description box. There you will find more than 3000 plus free resources available in both Hindi as well as English language. So as per your convenience or without any language barrier, you can consume the content. Okay. Alright, so let's get started. Here you can see I have mentioned the first heading, that is Angular course by Sharmit, and then we have second heading, reactive form in Angular, form group submit with validation check. And after that we have one horizontal row and another one also. So in between these two horizontal rows we will define the actual form so that it looks good on a browser. Now before we move to that part, what we can do, we can simply firstly understand the requirement, like what is exact requirement for us, and then as per the requirement we will define the prerequisites and design the form. So requirement is very simple and straightforward. We will create two input field, one is for email and one is for name, and there we will see how this form group submit process performed with the validation check. Okay. Alright, so I think now we are good to go to the app.component.ts file, and there we will define the required thing. So for that, let's go to app.component.ts file. Here in this import section we will mention reactive form modules, and then we will expand this app component, and inside this we will define the form group. Okay, so I will define it with name user group, maybe user form we can write, the form equal new of form group, opening closing parenthesis, opening closing curly braces, and then we will expand it, and inside this we will mention the other stuff. Let me put it in a different way. Firstly we will mention parenthesis, opening closing parenthesis, then curly braces, and then we will expand it to define the fields. So first field is for name. I will write name here, then new form group. Okay, then inside this we will firstly set the default value, that is blank, and after that if validation is needed, you can simply write here validators dot whatever validation you want. So I want required. Okay, so in this way you can mention validator. Remember one thing, these things should be imported here. Okay, form group, reactive form module, validators, because these are the things that are mandatory to perform this example, because we are using here, right, validators. Now likewise we will define the email field. So this is my second field for email, new form group, and then we will define here blank, after that a comma, and there we will mention multiple validation like validators dot email. Firstly it will check for the email, and then validators dot required. So these two validation we have applied to the email field. Now you can simply save it. There should be one comma and a semicolon after the user group. So what it will do now, it will like we have created this form group with two fields, name and an email, and now we are good to use the further thing, that is for submit form and methods. Okay, so to define the submit form method, you can write here submit form, opening closing parenthesis, curly braces, then we will write here one condition, like if this dot user form dot invalid, Okay, then you can put over a curly braces here, and in this curly braces we will mention this dot user form dot mark all as touched. This is very important keyword. Why? Because usually what happen, like when we start the filling the form, so at a time we touch one field, right? But to perform the proper validation, to make sure that all fields are validated properly at a time, so what we will do, we will refer this, we will use this mark all as touched. So what it will do, it will touch, it will consider all field as a touched and then return the required decision. So you can see I put the return over here, and then after this you can put a message that form is submitted. So for that, console.log form submitted, then a comma, this dot user form dot value, okay, and then a semicolon. Fine, so this thing is ready. We have created the submit form method. Inside this we are checking for user form. If it is invalid, then in that case we are checking, we are making all field as touched, marking all field as touched and returning it. And also we are displaying one message on the console that form is submitted, this dot user form dot value. Now you can save this code and we are good to design the HTML form. So to design the form, firstly, like you will write here form, and inside this form we will set the form group. So I'll just write here ng form group, okay, form group, and inside this form group we will mention the form group name, that is user form, and here in user form we will define one by one all the things, like we will mention here ng submit form, opening closing parenthesis, and then we will put a label over here. So just write label. In this label we will mention name, then we will mention here input field, then we will mention type as text, then we will write here form control name. In form control name we will mention name, and then we will define the second label. In second label we will define email, okay, this is for the email field, and likewise we will define the input field for the second, that is email. So type as text, no, this time we will mention it as email because this is for email. Then form control name, where we will mention here email. Perfect. So this thing is ready. Now it's time to set the validation message, because we know that there might be some scenarios where we are going to show some message. So for that, let's go to app.component.ts again, and after this reactive form module we will put a comma where I will mention ng if. Okay, now what you can do in div, you can mention ng if user form dot get, and here we will check for the email, okay, email, then question mark after a parenthesis dot invalid double ampersand user form dot get, then we will mention here email again, then a semicolon, then a question mark dot touched, okay, then you are good to put the message. So here I will write email is required, okay. So email is required message is there. Now next what we will do, we will simply put a button here. So this is a button where we will mention submit form, and here we can define type as submit because we have already executed it from here, okay. Now we are good to run the application. So go to new terminal and expand it a little bit and then we will write here ng serve -- open, enter. Just wait for a few seconds and then it will show you the output in the browser screen, and then we will verify the output. So let's see how it looks. Yeah, it is executed successfully. So we will find the output here. So you can see we have two heading. Okay, I think there is one issue regarding the JSON. Let's see what is the issue. Control dot register on change is not a function. Okay, let's verify that something is wrong. Ngif is there. Let's see one by one. Form control name is there. Okay, then we have type as full control name, email. Then we have *ng if user form dot get email. Then question mark dot invalid, $& user form dot get email, question mark dot touched, email is required, and then we have this submit form. Okay, so let's see. I think the issue is here. We are using form group 2 times, but it should be form control. So we need to mention like this form control, because we have created the main form group, right? And inside this form group we have two form control. So we'll write like this. Okay, now I think it should work properly. Let's refresh it. Yeah, it is coming properly. So we have main heading Angular course by Sharmit, reactive form in Angular, form group submit with validation check, label, input field, another label, another input field, and one submit button. So if I submit it right now, you can see it shows email is required, because for now I'm just checking for the email. Now if I write here abc and submit again, still it is showing same thing. If I write abc@gmail.com and then submit it, you will see it is submitting the form with required fields. So this is how we will do the validation with the input fields and form group. Okay, and it is checking for the validation, like if you put something wrong, it will show email is required. And you can also customize the message, like here we can mention email is required or invalid, something like this. So we will get this kind of message. Okay, so yeah, this is what I wanted to share with you all in this session. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.